Hey guys, Harry here from the Art Gear Guide. Thank you so much for joining me today. As you can see here, I have a review of the Staedtler Watercolour Crayons. So, these are, if you know anything about the Caran Neocolor, these are the same kind of concept. Lyra have a set of water-soluble crayons as well. And for anybody that's tried the Caran Neocolor, you will know that they're very, very pigmented. They're a lot of fun to use, and so I really wanted to try these. I wanted to see if, in terms of their vividness and brightness and things like that, if these were going to be anywhere near as good as the Neocolor, given the vast difference of pricing. And obviously, the two different companies market their products primarily at two different markets. I would say, in my opinion, Caran and perhaps Lyra as well are much more focused towards artist quality products. I think Staedtler are much more aimed at schools, kids going back to schools, students going back to college, and they seem to have cornered that particular market. With this particular Staedtler range, so this is their design journey range, I got sent a few of the products within this range. I've already done a review of the 72 set of colour pencils, which I was really, really surprised by at how good they were, and really enjoyed using them. I've had a quick play about with some of the other ones as well, but not to the extent where I could actually give an informed opinion of them just yet. But I wanted to get on with doing a review of the water soluble crayons, so that's what this review is about. Let's get into it. So as you can see here, there's just like this little cardboard box. There's a little bit of writing on the back here. It just says watercolor crayons, highly opaque, colors blend easily, to be used with brush and water for a variety of washes. Special effects can be achieved with layering and scratching. Paper sleeve keeps hands clean. This is the 24 set. If you want more information about set sizes and prices, I'll have, as always, I'll have that over in the written review. So as you open it up, there is this little tray that pulls out, and you can see the 24 colours there in the tray. It's just a cardboard tray. It's nothing special or anything like that. In terms of how the actual crayons look and appear, so along the barrel, so we'll just call it a barrel for the sake of argument here, we have the Staedtler logo right at the front here. Obviously, because they're crayons, they can be sharpened. If you put them into a sharpener, you can sharpen them to get a finer point on them, and then use them more like a pencil. Right beside the Staedtler logo, it just says what they are, which is a watercolor crayon. It says that in 4 different languages, and then right at the very end, there's just a logo of a brush, just to drive home the point that they are water soluble. On the opposite side, we have the crayon color, and that is also in 4 different languages. Now, just underneath where the color names are printed, you'll see there's like this little cloud effect type of thing with the paper. That's so that as you're using the crayon, you can just rip off a little bit of the paper at a time as the crayon is being used up. A lot of these crayons have the same kind of thing. It just means that you're not having to take off the entirety of the paper, because the paper that surrounds this will obviously protect your hands from getting colour on them, that type of thing, but it also has the information of the crayons on there as well. So you want to try and keep the paper on as long as you possibly can, or not. It's entirely up to you. There's not much more really to say about the characteristics of these. There's no light fastness or anything like that. This particular product, the water soluble crayons, I wouldn't say they're aimed at kids, but I would say that they're aimed more primarily at teenagers, students. to give them that versatility in watercolor painting. So obviously you can go out and you can get pans and you can get tubes. That is your traditional way of doing watercolors, or then you can go to watercolor pencils. Watercolor crayons, water soluble crayons, give you just another dimension to that particular medium and how much fun you can have. And you can use these on lots of different types of surfaces like rocks and what have you. But that's really all there is about the characteristics. So what we need to do now is show you what the crayons look like and take it from there. So as you can see here, I created a swatch. Now you'll have some images popping up on the screen because I'm going to show you what the swatch was like in its dry version before I activated it with the with water. The paper that I've used for this particular demonstration was the St. Cuthbert's Mill Milford paper. Now, I'm a huge fan of St. Cuthbert's paper. It's exceptionally high quality. So I just wanted to mention that right off the bat because the artwork that I completed as well was on the exact same paper. So as you can see here, I've got two black lines. One is thicker than the other. I wanted to just use one black line to keep the crayon in its dry form on, so that when I took a photograph at the end here, it was going to give you a comparison, a side-by-side comparison as to what the pigment was like over the black. So in other words, whether the pigment was opaque or transparent, and it just gives you a better understanding of how these crayons work. There you can see the colours in their dry format, just as you would see any crayon. And now this is what they look like in their when they've been activated with water. And I think you'll agree that the vibrancy of the colours is amazing. I mean, like, don't get me wrong, I am not under any way knocking any of the other companies. I'm a huge fan of the other companies as well. But when you see what one company can do with a much cheaper product, in terms of how they look visually and what type of artwork you're going to be able to create with them because of the vibrancy and the depth of the colour that you can get with these crayons, it's remarkable the differences. Yet though the differences are quite small when you actually look at the side by side. And I will do I've got to do a review of the Lara water soluble crayons, which I will do soon. And then after that, I'm going to do a comparison of all three of them so that we can see side by side what the differences are, if any. As a standalone product, these Staedtler crayons, I think, for the money that you pay for them, is just phenomenal. Really, really nice. Anybody that loves a water soluble medium would get a lot of fun out of these and be able to create really nice art, which brings us on to the artwork that I actually created with these crayons. Okay, so as you can see, as it's autumn time here, I decided just to pick up a couple of leaves and just to draw them or paint them, whatever you want to call it. And this is kind of like the end result that I got. And I think you'll agree that the colours are really nice and vibrant. And as always, I'll have a speed drawing version of this up here on YouTube. And I'll also have some still images over on the Art Gear Guide website, where you can just go across, view the images at your own time and leisure, zoom in on them, inspect them, and get to see what the colours look like close up. Because I understand not everybody enjoys speed drawings. You can see here just the quality of the colours, and bearing in mind, you know, they are crayons, they're water soluble crayons here that I've been working with. And I did use my little Caran palette to help me with this, because then it just really turns these into pans, you know, just like any other water soluble product. But I'm going to give you a demonstration in real time as to how they react when activated with water and how they lay down on the paper. And again, I'm just using this Milford block here. First things first, I'm just going to show you how I use this little palette. And a lot of people have said you can use other things. It doesn't have to be this particular palette. You can use anything that's kind of like plastic, and it's got a little bit of a texture to the top of it. But you would just, or all I did was just scribble down some of the colours that I wanted. Just pick out a watercolour brush, dip it into some water, and then just mix the colour. And you're good to go. And the good thing about using something like this is that you can do a lot of the time with water soluble products like markers, coloured pencils, crayons, and pencils, is that you do your mixing on the paper. A lot of people do their mixing on the paper, but obviously that doesn't necessarily have to be the case. And when you do your mixing on the paper, if you don't get the right colour, the right shade, the right tone, or what have you, well, you're kind of like scuppered. You're gonna be stuck with it. So doing it like this allows you to visually see the mix and see whether it's good enough. And if it's not good enough, then you can just obviously add some more colour. So I've got a yellow and a blue. Just let me zoom in a little bit here for you. Okay, so I've got this really nice blue and yellow, and I'm just going to mix them together. You know, instantly you can see the green take shape there. And if it was too dark or it wasn't dark enough, you could just add more colour to it. So if I wanted that to be a little bit darker, I would just get this blue, and then just mix that in with it. And obviously you would play about with it, and you would get the colour that you wanted. But that's essentially how I done that, most of that artwork, just by mixing the colours on this palette, and that was that. But obviously you can just apply the colour to the paper, and that's what I'm going to do here. I'm just going to show you some of the colours, and then I'm going to basically show you how they react to the water. So I'm just putting a light layer there on this Milford paper, so you can see there it's not too heavy, and then I'm going to put a slightly heavier application here, and then an even heavier. So with the lighter application, you'll get to see how it reacts with the water. And what I love about these particular crayons is that I was always of the opinion, whenever I was doing water soluble product reviews, that the cheaper line of watercolor pencils or watercolor crayons, when you activated them with water, there would still be like lines underneath where you had been doing your pencil work, your line work with your pencil. And the reason why that is because it's the cheaper pencils don't have a lot of pigment in them, and so it's a lot of binder. And when you are applying a pencil to the paper, it scratches out a lot of the stuff, so that when you activate it, the little bit of pigment that is there will dissolve and give you the colour that you want, but it'll still leave lines underneath, and that's not the case with the Staedtler. So that was the light application. This one here is a little bit heavier, so it's going to obviously give us a darker tone. But again, in terms of leaving the residue underneath, because it was a heavier application, you'll see here that that's not going to happen either, and that everything lifts off and turns to watercolor paint. And then finally, this much heavier application. So there was a lot of pushing down onto the paper here to get a lot of the pigment out. You can see that by how dark the colour is, but when I zoom in a second, you'll see as well that there's no residue underneath. There's no crayon mark. There's no anything. The entirety of it has activated with the water and has turned into watercolor paints, and that's exactly what you want. Okay, so this one here is the light application. This one's the light application. This one's the medium application, and then this one here is the heavier application. And as I mentioned, there's no pencil strokes underneath it. I hope you understand. I'm probably not explaining myself too well. So let me try and explain this. Obviously, this is an exaggerated way of explaining this. So I've got a non-water soluble pencil here. This is the Staedtler coloured pencil that I used, that I've already reviewed. So I'm going to put a couple of strokes down here. And like I say, this is exaggerated and it's non-water soluble. I'm going to then come over with an application of water soluble crayon. And don't forget, guys, I'm only doing this to help illustrate a point. So okay, so this is the point that I'm trying to illustrate. Obviously, if you're using much cheaper products like much cheaper water soluble pencils or crayons, once you do your covering motion and it creates like these lines, when you go over it to activate it, with the much cheaper versions of water soluble pencils or crayons, you will still have the line marks underneath it. Only little bits of it will lift off and activate into watercolor paint. And the reason why that is because those particular products are mainly binder, very little water-soluble watercolors in them. And so the binder remains and the little bit of pigment will activate and give you color. So that was just an exaggerated way of trying to demonstrate that to you. For anybody that wasn't sure of what I meant, I'm not always the best at explaining things. So as well, just to show you the lifting the colour off, I have this palette. I'm just going to soak up some of this lovely green that we made and then just apply it down to the paper here. Obviously when you do this, it gives you a little bit more control, I think. When you're using it as a crayon or a watercolor pencil, I think the results can be a little bit unpredictable because of the mixing and the blending. But obviously, for a lot of people, that's exactly what they're looking for. That's one of the reasons they love watercolors so much, is because of the unpredictable nature of it and how it applies itself to the paper. But I just wanted to show you this demonstration in real time. And don't forget, this was the colour that we created with the yellow and the blue. Okay guys, so that's really about it for this review of the Staedtler water soluble crayons. I thoroughly enjoyed using them. I was really happy with the artwork that I created with them, and as it says on the back of the package, they do mix well and blend well, but you would expect that with a water-soluble product in any case. But the colours are really nice and strong and vibrant. And as you can see here on this particular swatch, some of them are opaque and some of them are not. But that's the way it is with all mediums. You get some of the products are transparent and some of them are quite opaque. Each artist likes their own particular format, and this test just gives you a little indication as to how this particular product works. In terms of the pricing, like I say, there will be over in the Art Gear Guide, but believe me guys, for the 24 crayons here, you're talking really inexpensive, and bearing in mind that, you know, they're not pencils, so the entirety of this is water soluble. You're going to get a lot of use out of these. They're going to give you a lot of water soluble or watercolor product. And when I was showing you there about sharpening them, that's another really great way that you can just, you know, sharpen some of your if you don't have like a palette or anything they got to use, you can just sharpen off some of the crayon into tiny little bowls and mix them up, and they'll just create watercolor paints, and you can then just go on and do your own painting. I know sometimes often people will say that with the likes of watercolor pencils or water soluble crayons, that creating bigger paintings with bigger areas like sky and stuff like that is difficult, or can be difficult, and I get that, I understand that. But if you use like a type of palette that I showed you and do it that way, or like I've just explained to you, sharpen off some of the pigment into like a little bowl, mix it up with water, and you are just going to be left in with watercolor paints. If you do it that way, you're still going to be able to get those big areas, those that need to be done fast, and they're going to give you the type of painting that you want, really. But like I say, you can see here with the swatch how bright and vibrant the colours are. The artwork that I did, it's nothing special, you know, it's just a couple of leaves, but nonetheless, the colours were really good, really vibrant. I'm actually quite happy with this. I did come in over the top with some of the Staedtler coloured pencils that I reviewed, but that was just to go around the outsides there and just sharpen up some of the leaves. But other than that, everything was just done with those crayons, which I was really happy about. And all of the testing here that I've done has been on this St Cuthbert's Mill Milford paper. I am going to do a review later on. I know I've already spoke about the other water-soluble crayons, but I am going to do a comparison review of the various different watercolour papers that St Cuthbert's Mill have in their range, because they sent me out a pack a while ago explaining everything, and so I really want to hone in on that, understand that, and then do a review of that, just to show people the various different papers that St Cuthbert's do, because I think they're a fantastic watercolour paper company as well. But anyway, thank you so much guys for watching this video, and don't forget, if you have any questions, leave them in the comment section down below. Also, if you would like to follow me on Facebook, Twitter or Instagram, again, links for that will be down below. The likes of Instagram and Facebook, anytime I put any personal photos up of me and my family or the dog or anything like that, I'll mainly put those up on Instagram or Facebook. So if you are interested in seeing things like that, like I said, the links will be down below. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, if you have found this video useful and you want to check out some of my other videos and see if they're of any use to you, and after that you still want to subscribe to the channel, that would be great. I would really love that. It does help the channel out, it helps YouTube see the algorithms and what have you, and push the channel out to more people. And also as well, if you have enjoyed the content, if you have got some value from it, then hit the like button, and again, that also helps the channel. Any comments down below, or if you've used any of these water soluble crayons, let me know in the comment section down below. It's always really fantastic listening, getting to see what you guys are doing, what you guys have used, and sharing your experience and your knowledge with the rest of the community. I always say this, and I mean it from the bottom of my heart. The comment section is the gold to certainly my videos. In any case, my videos are just an introduction, and then once you guys all start talking about the product that I'm reviewing, that's where all the real information comes from, and I can't thank you guys enough for that. Thanks very much, guys. See you all again in the next one. Bye.